What's up, guys? Welcome back to the infamous project. Back over here on the 1989 twin turbo Coyote notchback. And if you remember where we left off before I was heading up to Woodward, is that I sprayed up the door panels, the armrests, a little bit of remaining interior trim over here. And one thing that I've realized, I need to get some more lighting in here. So maybe that's going to be an Amazon order. And that way, number one, I can see better. Number two, you guys will be able to see better, because when editing the video, I know there's a lot of times it could benefit from having some more lighting. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and put together these interior items that have now been pretty much curing for almost 2 weeks. And I did stop in yesterday while you guys weren't watching, and I put together one door panel with the map pockets. So one thing that is pretty cool about NPD is they actually offer a matte pocket in smoke gray, of all things, even though they never came in smoke gray. Now, I'd be lying if I told you I didn't paint them. They were really, really close to the SEM Presidio gray, but I ended up giving them a light little dusting just to make sure that everything matched 100%. I also went ahead and installed the new speaker grill cover there, and everything is pretty much good to go on this panel, with the exception of putting the insulated foam backing on it. So that way we'll be able to limit the amount of noise in the car. I did bring a little bit of kill mat with me as well. You can see the Carbos are sitting on the floor over there, so I would like to get those installed today as well. Well, at least the front bolts of the seats, because I got the Stifler subframe connectors that are going to get installed, and they actually replace the rear hardware that goes through the floor, because the subframes have the cross bracing that ultimately get bolted up for added support. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and get this door panel put together with the matte pocket and the speaker grill. Then I'm going to assemble the armrests and get the little trim pieces in there, which you can see I did in black instead of leaving them in the chrome. And we'll probably be in a position to hopefully get the door panels on. So one thing that I need to do that was an interesting find is on the driver's side here. So the doors were off when the car got sprayed, and what happened was paint got everywhere in terms of where metal to metal contact was. So needless to say, this door currently is not grounded to the rest of the body of the car. So when I started going through and putting all the wiring back in place, I was doing a test. I was hitting the window switches, nothing was happening. And I was like, let me check and see. So I ran a jumper cable from the dash frame over to the metal spot on the door here. I think this ground strap right there, and everything started working. So I have two options in reality. Number one is I can run a ground wire, maybe from, I could mount it in here with a self-tapping screw, or maybe there's a screw hiding in there. I can use it off the dash frame even, and run it through the inside and connect it up here. Or the only other option really would be to loosen off the hinges and ultimately create some better metal to metal contact, which I'd rather not really mess with the hinges if I don't have to. So that is one thing that I wanted to share with you guys. Be conscious of that. If you're painting everything with your doors off, gotta remember, grounds need metal to metal contact throughout the entire body of the vehicle. So probably just gonna end up running a separate ground wire, because if everything's covered in paint, I'm happy with that. It means it's all sealed, it's protected. If moisture gets in there, we don't have to worry about any rust or corrosion happening. So that's a little note that I wanted to share with you guys there. I guess now we'll get into the intro. When we get back, I'm gonna start assembling these guys up, and hopefully we can get most of the interior wrapped up in the car today. Here's our door panel. Start with the mat pocket. Pretty straightforward. Unbend the tabs, get them through all the holes, bend them back, and we'll get this thing knocked out in no time. All right guys, so I got some kill mat here and I'm not gonna do the whole door. All right, I know some people, they just go crazy with this stuff, but the reality is you kind of only really need to do sections. And since we've added the foam backing behind the door panel, that's gonna do quite a bit in terms of insulating the sound. We are gonna have the vapor barrier that actually goes on top of everything. But if you actually do some sections of kill mat, versus trying to do the whole door per se, you'll be amazed on how much noise reduction it makes. I'm just going to stick a piece here, cut it right there because this is the mounting point for the armrest on the door. Okay. Another piece here. So we'll get a piece here. So if you guys are concerned about having to buy like 5 boxes of kill mat to do your whole car, you do not need to do the whole car in order to achieve really good sound deadening. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I actually learned this in the Cali Coupe because the Cali Coupe just kind of had random sections of kill mat on it. And I was like, man, why didn't they do the whole car? And then I thought about it for a second, just the way that noise transfers when you hit it, right? So it kind of made sense that, you know what, why would you go through a whole box when you can get away with just doing some sections? So that's what we're gonna do here. This stuff is super easy to apply. Obviously, I've cleaned up the door skins quite a bit. Right? So we can hear how much deeper of a sound it is now. So the one key one that I'm going to do is actually squeeze a piece on the back side of, on the inside of the door skin there behind the speaker, so that way it'll help keep some sound in. Can be a little challenging. You might want to start pulling back some of the material. You got to kind of sneak it in there without it sticking on you. There you go. Perfect. So there you go, guys. You can see where I got the kill mat on the back side of the door skin here. I'm just going to do a little section around here. Again, that'll help insulate the sound a little bit for the stereo speakers. And the rest of it, this is pretty much all I'm going to do because it's all that's really required. So while I'm here, I'll share with you guys these cool little connectors. I got these off of Amazon, and somebody actually recommended these to me. I thought that they should exist. I just never had luck really finding them. I guess I just didn't look hard enough. But they're just connectors that actually plug in to your factory Ford clip, and they already give you the terminated ends to clip onto your speaker. So you don't have to cut your factory wiring or the harness or anything. And it's a pretty sweet deal, right? All right, guys, so I got some Pioneer, what are these, 160 watt speakers. Nothing too crazy. They are going to be more than adequate to work with a factory radio, because originally I was just going to do like a Bluetooth and amplifier, and well, cat's out of the bag. I'm not keeping this car either. So the individual wants the factory look, factory appeal. So we're going to be putting in a factory style head unit that has the upgrade from Todd Lane, who does the Bluetooth integration in the factory radio. So if you guys aren't familiar with that, I will link in the video description here. Trim bezel here. So the interesting thing about foxbody door window switches is that I want to say 90 and older, you can actually disconnect the switches from the door harness, which is nice. You can see these two big connectors here, whereas in 91 and above, this is all integrated. So meaning that there's no such thing as disconnecting these guys, which means you have to pull this out of the armrest and then route kind of all the switches and everything out together as one. So, no, I just forgot. So this guy has two, I think these are 1/4 inch or 7mm screws on the back. We'll need that to retain this clip, because when you get the new faceplate, it does not come with that. So we'll have to swap that over. Before I go grab that, let's do the window switches, door lock switches here. So these are actually pretty easy. You can just get real small screwdriver. You literally just pry up on the switch right off the faceplate. Now, make sure your battery is disconnected so you don't short things out. There you go. Just pop both switches off. So I'm going to get a rag so that clean up the whole switch here, and I'll get that 7mm socket. New switch bezel. Clean this up here. There's two new ones. So here's the old one. You can see the font's pretty much worn off. There's our new one. So just go ahead and press that guy on. Here's our new window switch. Again, just to kind of give you guys a comparison. Looks a little different. The switch might be a little fatter looking actually, interestingly enough. We can screw this guy back on. If we wanted to. I'm not going to screw it on because I'm actually going to pass it through the armrest and then install it, but you can see how nice and new and fresh that looks. My dirty fingerprints, but there you are. Looks much nicer. Alright guys, here we go. One Corbeau installed, and got a nice lean on here and right on the factory track. And I've got to say, the factory track, definitely the seat sits pretty high. It's not horrible. I got a pretty good lean on the seat now, but if you wanted to be like upright like this, then you'd definitely be pretty close to the headliner. But I personally like being like this because it feels like the seat's got you nice and gripped. So I don't have any complaints. The passenger side actually always feels different than the way that the driver's side is, because the driver's side will actually go back further than the passenger side. If you guys weren't aware of that, You'll notice if you ever have to drill holes or you have to play around with the seat tracks, there's actually a different distance on the driver's seat versus the passenger seat. All right, door panel's all ready. Brand new Christmas tree is on it. Got that Corbeau seat on the passenger side, so we're almost ready to tick off the passenger side of the interior here. All right, so we got the passenger side panel on with the exception of the power mirror trim plate, which I think I might have got new ones or I misplaced them. I'll find them. With that said, I'm really happy with the way that this all turned out. This panel looks absolutely fantastic. So no complaints whatsoever. Means now we get to go over to the driver's side and knock that one out. So I am fingering the rubber boot. And as long as you got reasonably sized fingers, you can pass wires through them. Otherwise, you could use a fish, old coat hanger, whatever you might have laying around. Get creative. Probably be surprised on how flexible the boot is. There we go. Got my wire through. So now I'll just feel for it up in the doorpost area. There it is. Make sure I have enough slack on there to do what I need to do. And similarly, I'll cut this free and I'll pass it along. Find a good ground for it. Finally remembered to bring my light to the shop here, so you guys will be able to see a little bit better in terms of what's going on. I'm going to do the kill mat, going to put on our speaker connectors, going to install the 3.5-inch speaker up in the dash up there as well. Got a really nice direct built-in MB cord replacement, and hopefully we can get this door panel on with ease, and from there we'll be able to put that driver's seat in. Feels good to be sitting in a Corbeau in here, because what does that mean? It means this interior is almost all back together. So we're probably 95% there. All the hard work is done. Door panels are back on, seats are in. I had to actually adjust the brake switch because it is that custom one for the Coyote setup, brake pedal with the Hydro Boost and everything else, because the brake lights were staying on unless you pulled the brake pedal up. So I actually had to drop the column to get back down there and have access to it, but whatever, it is what it is. It's all done. It's feeling good in here. I'm really happy with the progress that's been made here in the past few days. Again, not full days, just a little bit of time here and there, trying to knock it out because I got a lot going on. So now moving forward, probably going to be getting this car moved around a little, maybe getting it up on the hoist, doing the subframes to start tackling that electric power steering pump and trying to get AC back in this car. So that's pretty much where I'm at now, and hopefully you guys are enjoying this, because, well, there's a lot more coming. I said I wouldn't get into all this Coyote stuff. However, you see this car right here that's in the shop? Well, This thing just got dropped off yesterday, and I'll give you a whole bunch more details on it. You can see that the back of this car is filled with parts, literally filled. So we have a 93 white hatch on a black tweed interior car. Can't even tell that it's tweed because there's so much stuff jammed in there. But you can tell by those headers. If you know what those headers are for, that's right, I gotta put a Coyote in this thing. So out is gonna come the old factory 5.0 that's sitting in here, and got a Coyote swap it. So he's provided everything, K-member, motor, 6R80, control pack, like it's all in there. And I'll do a full episode on that so you guys can see what's going on, because I still need to go through it all and make sure that we got everything that's required to get the job done. So stay tuned. We'll be pulling that motor out, doing an inventory of the parts, getting this thing cleaned up and ready to accept a Coyote motor. And then we will be hopefully getting to the finish line of this guy right here. Man, just looking at that door panel is so rewarding to see your hard work finally come to light as it's reflecting in the light, no pun intended. So that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. We will see you here next time on the Infamous Project.